The question becomes, how do you recruit top talent from local schools? Well, stick around for today's podcast. That's what we're talking about. Let's do it. Salon owners are some of the most amazing people on planet Earth. The only problem is sometimes their hearts are so big and they give so much of themselves to their staff and guests that it creates unintended consequences. Our goal is to change the industry by elevating the way the rest of the world sees salons, spas, and barbershops and give it the credibility that it truly deserves. This is the Salon Owner Evo Revo Show. Today's podcast is brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel. What's going on, guys? It's Jason and Doug. What's going on, Doug?
Not much, man. Just hanging out.
Just hanging out, shooting a podcast. We're not doing anything. By the way, I didn't wear my hat today. I hope you're okay. I went hatless for podcast today. I hope that's okay. But glad to have you on. I think this is the hot topic. Number one topic that's existing right now in the salon spa space is how do I recruit? How do I hire people? How can I find team members that will stick with me long term? And I know, Doug, we talk about this all the time. We've done so many trainings on hiring and on building your team. And one of the things that often comes up is, what are the relationships with local beauty schools? How do you go and recruit from local beauty schools? And I think there's probably a list of 5 big mistakes that people make when they go to beauty schools. And then probably I would say, I think that the other thing is the mistake in how people hire in general that sets us up for this, I think is what I'd like to talk about today. Is that cool?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I think one of the big mistakes I see people do on a regular basis is they, and I'm talking hiring in general, is when they go to hire, and this is how we'll get to beauty schools today, is when they go to hire, what they're trying to do is they're trying to hire somebody who's already talented, who's perfect at what they do, like they have no issues, no drama, no anything, and a full book of business that they can bring with them to the salon. So they've hired that quote unquote perfect person that their salon needs in order to grow their salon company. They're like, hey, can you just send me 10 people who have a full book of business, no drama, no issues, and they exactly match the ethos and the culture of our team. Where are those people? Can you just please send them in? I need 25 of those by next week.
Unicorn hunting.
Yeah, unicorn hunting. Yeah, and I think that's a problem because it's not really the way that it works. And so, Doug, you are a big proponent of this because I've seen you do it over and over again. We teach it in the academy. Is instead of trying to buy or bribe or bring in somebody that is already perfect, you're a big fan of creating and molding people into the right players that you want to have on your salon team. Just talk about that for a second, because then that's going to get us into schools.
Yeah, I mean, I think you do a lot better finding somebody that you can coming out of school and finding that right person out of school, which we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But I think as opposed to having that person that it's already been out in the world. I mean, we really won't hire anybody that's been in the asterisks. Unless they move here from out of town. I mean, if they move here from out of town and they seem to be, we'll give them a shot. But a local person, we found that it ends up bringing more drama into it, and sometimes that interview well, and a month or two into it, do much better bringing someone from the school, putting them in our training program, and then creating them the way that we want them to help them be as successful as possible and fit in our culture. But the trick to it is you've got to be able to find those people in the schools. You can't, and that's what we're talking about, the consistency thing. I think the big, people get the comfortable. It's like, I got plenty of people, and then things happen. I mean, I don't know about other salons, but our salon, 3 people get pregnant at a time. There's never one. It's always 3. All of a sudden, you can end up where there's
you
holes.
need 3 stylists, and you can't figure it out.
Or someone moves. I mean, you never know what's going to come up. And you need to fill those spots.
Yeah.
And then you call the school in a panic. Hey, Judy, you're that person now. Hey, look, we're over here. We need a person that fits this. Da 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 da.
Right.
Who can you send us? And
they call out of desperation, right? I mean, I think that really, and if we get into that, because thank you, Doug, for setting that up, is I want to get into these mistakes, but that becomes the problem, right? Is you want people from a school, but like you said, you have 3 people going on maternity leave, and mistake number 1 is calling the school in a panic only when you need people, right? That's mistake number 1 that people make when recruiting from local schools, 100%.
Because we work with a lot of the people in our academy also own schools, And they say it's one of the most irritating things they have. It's like somebody they haven't heard, have reached out, tried to connect with the salons before to get them to participate in things or help out with stuff at the school. Never want to talk to them until all of a sudden I need somebody,
Right.
and then it's like you're here to serve me, school. So you need to find me some people. I would like to
Put
have
out some
five.
people, damn it.
I need 5 applications of perfect people by the end of the week, if that's at all possible. And I
Yeah.
mean that it's not the way that's going to get you there. I think that is by far one of the
Right.
big mistakes.
Right. So
They,
yeah, go ahead, say.
yes,
Sorry.
so one of the other ones that people do that I know that salon owners don't particularly care for
Or
is they
the
say,
school
well,
owners.
I want to build a relationship with the school, so I'm going to go teach something at the school. And so
Uh,
you call up the school and say, hey, I'm willing, you're so lucky, I'm willing to want to teach something at your school.
yeah.
What would you like me, wonderful salon owner, or one of my team members to come teach for you? And it's like that there again, you're
Yeah.
putting the work on the owner of the school or the director of the school. And so there's a little bit of a twist on that and say, hey, I've got this really great thing that I think will add a lot of value to your students. This is what it is. Is that something that you would like us to bring to your school? So now then all they
Mm,
have to do is say, yeah, that sounds interesting. Love to have do it. Instead of like figure out what they want and when to, and you're putting all the work on the school owner or director instead of you coming with a package and say, hey, this is something that we've done. This time I think would add a lot of value to your students. We'd love to be able to get in front of them and present this for you. And on that
yeah.
note too, when you're going in and you're doing that, you got to make sure that it's a subtle art of selling your school without selling, or selling your salon without
Right.
selling your salon.
Well, and that becomes mistake number 3, right? Is mistake number 3 is you go in selling your salon hard,
Yep,
right? When you do
because that
actually
just
go into school.
it turns people off, and they're going to quit listening to you. Students are going to quit listening to you, and they're going to feel like, oh, I was just in a sales pitch, but I
Right.
didn't learn anything. I was in a sales pitch because you shut them down. Because
Yeah.
it's fine to talk about how things should be and talk about salons in general, and you can mention, and by the way, that's one of the things we do at our salon.
Right.
This is what you're looking for. This is what's good. But talk about in general, and you can casually say, by the way, that's what we do at our salon. And what you're wanting to do, in my
Yeah.
opinion, is at the end of whatever that class is, have people come up that want to know more information. I think sometimes people make the mistake of wanting to, vomit all the stuff about their salon in their
Yeah.
class, and no one's like, oh no, I'm good, and they try to walk out the door because like, this person's
Right.
chasing after you. It's like we were talking to somebody a while back about the difference between being the chaser and being chased.
Yeah.
When you go into salon, you don't want to be the chaser because you're going to chase everybody off. What you want to do is make it where they're all chasing you. That's
Yeah.
that twist on it makes a huge difference. And there's some other things we're going to talk about here in a minute that make a big difference in the way that you introduce yourself into the school situation.
Yeah, so let's. I just want to recap on the 3 things we covered so far. So number 1 is you call the salon in a panic only when you need staff and you've built no relationship, right? Like that is mistake number 1 is you just call. And by the way, I'm guilty of that. Can I just say when I used to hire interns on for our company is like, we'd have an intern, no big deal. But then if I didn't have an intern, I'd call the school and be like, hey, by the way, who do you got for me? And they'd always send me like the worst referrals because we had zero relationship outside of that. I had to learn that, like, look, if I want to continue to get interns, I'm going to need to maintain a relationship with that school or with that, that organization in order to make people happen. So we talked about, and we'll talk about in the podcast today, how do you maintain those relationships? Then the second mistake was making the school do all the work, calling and saying, hey, what do you need to teach? I'm really good at teaching anything. What do you have for me to teach? And I love what you said about that, Doug. Is like have a couple of things lined up that you want to teach. And it kind of marries into this next point. When you have a couple of things lined up to teach and say, hey, I can come in and teach. And I'm going to give you some titles. Okay. Steal these titles is the 5 questions you need to ask any salon before you go to work for them. That's an amazing class, right? 5 things you need to ask any salon before you go to work for them. So here's why this is a benefit. I want you to hear this because that question will set you up for the mistake number 3, which is not selling your salon too hard. So here's the subtle art of selling as you go into that salon or as you go into that school. If you walk in the door in school and go, hey, I know you guys have a bunch of new students graduating. I'd love to teach them the 5 questions they need to know about a salon before they walk in the door, the 5 questions they need to ask, and I'd love to be able to chat with them. So you go in, you teach this class, and you go, hey, here's the 5 things, and I'll make them up. But the 5 things you need to ask are, what type of education program do you have? How do you help train associates on the floor? What type of person are you looking for? And you give them a couple questions. And as you teach them this process over the course of an hour, whatever the class is, you can say, well, look, here's what I would ask, and here's how we would answer that question inside of our salon. And so what you're doing is you're actually teaching them how to look for your salon. Does that make sense? It's like, well, at our salon, we have an education plan, and we make sure that we provide, continuing education for this and this and this. Instead of going in and just saying, well, at our salon, we teach this and this and this and this and this. So you're actually teaching them what to look for. And by teaching them what to look for, you're actually teaching them, at least for those that are interested in working for you, how to find your salon. And what'll happen is this, is at the end of that class to say 5 things of what to look for, people are gonna go, wow, it sounds like it'd be really amazing to work at your salon. Hey, Doug, I know you just taught that class on 5 things to look for. What does it take to apply to work at your salon, and how does that whole process work? Because I might be interested in checking you guys out in the future. And instead of you calling them in a panic and worried about like, who do they have? They're now wanting to audition to come and work at your salon because you've been seen as an authority. You've given them a tool that works. And this is really important. That tool works without them coming to your salon. It's like, hey, at any salon, they should have a continuing education plan. They should have a comp strategy. They should have they have all this list of criteria. And that's what you're looking for in a really good salon. Here's what we happen to do. If we'd be a good fit, please let me know. So do you notice how that's like a subtle sale? And by the way, do me a favor, guys, in the chat, if you're learning a lot right now, say learning. And if you like this idea of this subtle positioning that gets people to audition, do me a favor, write subtle or audition in the chat, because you don't need to go into a salon or going to a school. I keep saying school and salon interchangeable. You don't need to go into a school and pitch yourself hard. Our salon is the best to work at in town because of blah, 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 blah. Teach them something useful. Give the school something useful. And as a byproduct of you educating them, they will want to work with you. Does that make sense, Doug?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things it's like a deflection sell. So where you're trying to say, look, these are things that there's several salons in this area, not a whole lot, but you want to make sure you're picking the right one.
You're not saying we're the only one that does this.
I can probably think of 5 salons that do something similar to this, and you need to find out which one of those is going to be a good fit for you. So you're selling the idea of the way you've got your set up, and saying yes, otherwise, we can't hire everybody. So but we do want you to be the one that's going to set you up to give you the most success. So if you watch how it is, like, we can't hire you, we may not be able to hire you. It's there again, I'm turning myself into the one being chased instead of the one chasing.
So good.
Make sure you flip that around so that they're like, oh, you want them coming to you, not feeling like you're chasing them down the road.
Yeah. So we got to take a break in just a second. I want to say one more thing before we go to the break about this idea of asking these questions. And I love what you said, Doug, about the deflecting. We do that a lot. And I'll say it right now, and I genuinely mean it. This is not a sales tactic. This is like, look, at the High Performance Salon Academy, we help a lot of different salon owners to grow, but we're not perfect for everybody. Like, can I just be really clear? And Doug, you know this. We have clients that we know we're not good for. Like, we just know if they come in our world, it's like oil and water, and we should walk the other way. But we're right for a lot of different clients. And so we just encourage you to find some coaching, some help, some support, and get some help with your salon, because if you're just doing it on your own, that is a bigger problem than getting no help at all. So notice, even as I'm saying that, and I genuinely mean it, is like, we're not perfect for everybody. And if we are the right fit, call us. If somebody else is the right fit, call them. Just make sure you're getting support. And that's why we're here in exactly the same process we're teaching on this podcast. We're giving you support and assistance to learn about growing your salon, even without you being a client. That's the same framework that is a marketing tried and true tested principle. If you educate people and you give them information, the right people will become attracted to you, and the right people will inquire about you instead of you having to do the chasing. We got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the other 2 big mistakes that people make when recruiting from local schools. We'll be right back after the short commercial break.
Hey, HPSA listeners, let me ask you this. Are you tired of not knowing what your hair color is costing you on every appointment and watching it chew up your profit? Well, with Salon Scale, we take the guesswork out for you. Using a mobile app paired with a Bluetooth scale, Salon Scale will tell you exactly what your color is costing you on every bowl mix down to the gram. As you mix, Salon Scale will also digitally store your formulas and track how much product is being used in real time, so you can manage your inventory, cover your expenses, and generate more profit in your salon. Use promo code HPSA10 to get 10% off an annual subscription. Salon Scale, the new standard for mixing color.
Welcome back. We're chatting right now about what are the 5 biggest mistakes that salon owners make when recruiting from local schools. And we talked about the biggest mistake, which is that they try and when recruiting, the biggest mistake when recruiting is they try and find somebody that's already ready to go versus have a plan to launch people from beauty schools. And Doug, you've said over and over again, one of the best things you guys do is you have a plan to develop new talent to move into amazing talent that worked with you for a long term, as opposed to trying to like bring in somebody who's already got their own book of business. I see it happen all the time. People are like, if I just hired 5 new incredible stylists, I'd have an amazing salon and it'd be fantastic, until they leave and go work for another salon company. So when you train people up from scratch and you are the training organization, you will have a better flow. Just to recap what we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, is number 1, people call schools in a panic saying, hey, I need people. Number 2 is they call and say, what do you want me to teach? Because I'm an incredible teacher. I'll teach anything, as opposed to having a specific thing that you can teach. And then thirdly, you sell the salon too hard. You walk in the school and you just say, our salon is amazing. You should come to work for us. Thank you, pay me. You know what I mean? Like, you have that type of attitude where you're the only option, and make sure you present yourself as the other option. Doug, you were just mentioning another thing that was going on, another mistake that people make when they go into schools. What was that?
And so, I mean, I think it's a really good idea as the owner or have people on your lead team go in and get services at the school.
Yeah.
But
That's a great point, is go in
Yeah.
and like audition talent that way and like see how
Right.
and you'll be able to observe not only the person who's getting the service done, but the those around. And what service do you recommend as an easy service? You're probably not going and getting a color from a brand new student. What service would you recommend?
No, I mean, like going and getting a blowout or going and getting a pedicure, things
Yeah.
that aren't going to be a permanent, a haircut and a color, it's a little tougher. You can make your call on that. But I think the problem with that is there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. The way not to do it is that you call and say, hey, this is Doug Campbell. I own the Penton House Salon and Day Spa, and I want to come in and get an appointment with your best person. That would be the way not to do it, because you may get the
Yeah,
appointment,
I'm the owner and I'd like to come meet with your best person. So that's
but
mistake
now
number
you
4, is announcing yourself, making it a big deal, and saying I'm interested in, I'm looking for people. It's a lot of pressure.
Right, yeah, because now you freaked out the person that is going to be doing your service, and it's going to you got a bad taste with whoever you booked the appointment with too. And you're like, this person think they are. So instead, just book like you're a normal person, and go in and have it. So maybe you're not with the best person, but you get the opportunity to look around and talk. And the thing is, you start talking to that person about them, asking them questions, building that rapport with them. Who you are as a salon owner is going to probably come up in the conversation somewhere, which is perfectly fine when it comes up that way, as opposed to you announcing it. So, but have to go in there. It's not about me. It's not about recruiting. It's just about what do you love about this? Tell me your story. Why are you getting into hair? What are you hoping to get out of it? And just build that story with them, with that thing, because students need people to work on, and so why not go in there and let them work on you so the school feels good about it. And here's the other little secret about that, is that you're paying for the service. The school owner likes you a whole lot more because you're coming in regular and paying for services, instead of calling them up and saying, this is what I need you to do for me, Mr. Salon owner, or Miss Salon, Miss School owner, or Mr. School owner. So you're going in, your staff's going in. So now then you're good clients of the school. The people that own the school, the staff, they like you. The people there get to know you, find out you're a real person. And so any rumors they may or may not have heard about your salon is that, well, that don't seem true.
I've met Doug. That's not who he is.
Right. So that's a super good way of going in and getting that done. And I think
that's a great tip, man. I don't know that we've talked about that very much. I was just thinking, when I used to do a ton of work with Massage Envy, and they were always looking for therapists. And I saw, in our Facebook group for the academy, somebody's like, I got to hire a new massage therapist. And what they would do is they're like, all right, well, they'll do an audition massage. But if you're like, hey, I'm just going to make it a point as a salon owner to go get a massage, once a month or twice a month from new talent at the local beauty school who's doing massages, that's a great way. Like, hey, what got you into this? How have you been doing it? And like, they don't need to know it's an audition for a job. right? And
Right.
you might, and again, I love what you said. Like, don't make it be focused on you. Like, hello, I just want to introduce myself. I'm the salon owner down the street. I'm the salon. I have the salon and spa, whatever. Pressure's on. Better make this a good massage, right? But just being able to, like, if you're like on a regular basis, you go in to just see what talent's doing. Like you said, manicure, pedicure, massage, blowout, and just get the feel and like spend some time there. And again, if you want to talk about building that relationship up with that school, great way to do it. That's a hot tip, man. I really appreciate that one. That's a great one. By the way, if that was helpful, to be fair and say hot tip in the chat. If that was a good hot one.
And then there's also the conversation you have there again is that you're not, even once they find out you're a salon owner, just talk about the industry in general of things that could help them along the way. Let them come to you. Don't chase them down. And I think the fifth thing that I think people do that's a little bit of a mistake is when they try to like we're big fans of the donut drop. Just go by
I was gonna say, when we said fifth, I'm like, that was the one I was talking about also was gifts. So keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So whenever you bring something by, because you can send lunch to them, you can send donuts, you can do a lot of these things. I mean, I know during COVID it got a little tricky, but it's definitely opened back up now. You can drop those things off, and the thing is, you drop them off with no strings attached.
Yeah,
that is part of that continuing thing where you just send it to
build a
them.
relationship. We just dropped off some bagels for you. We brought coffee by, and by the way, food bribes can get to anybody. Can I just say that? Like, and by the way, just drop off some Krispy Kreme donuts, some Dunkin' Donuts, some Noah's bagels. We're talking $20 worth of something that you can send. Massive value.
So it's a no ask opportunity there. So you got to remember, so when you drop it off, here's some donuts. And by the way, I'd like to come in and try to recruit some people from your school. That's wrong. And that's the mistake there is that people say, okay, here's the thing. And then I make it an obvious bribe by saying, I'm going to give you this. And now I want this. Just put it out there. Just make somebody's day. They came in, maybe they've had a bad day and they find this nice, cool donut or bagel or whatever you're going to send in there. And then, well, who did this? Oh, well, XYZ Salon dropped this off. What do they want?
No. Well, I was going to say, I've seen people take like, and I think this is okay. I've seen people take like a sticker. They've got stickers made for their salon and they'll put it on top of the Krispy Kreme box or they'll put it on there. But again, I think the important part is like the branding part is okay. And I think this is it. With branding, you want to stay top of mind. But I think what happens is like, notice this difference. One is I drop off brochures about how incredible our salon is, a recruiting brochure or something like that, versus I drop off a bunch of bagels with our salon sticker on the side of it. Right. And again, no expectation drop. Just like, hey, just want to come and give you a gift. I used to work in radio advertising, and the people who would always get to the DJs were the ones who came with food bribes. Like that was the thing, is they would come and drop off. They're like, oh, we brought you, a whole sandwich platter. We brought you Krispy Kreme donuts, whatever. And the DJs would be like, come on back, bring it back. Right. They would always say, like, bring it in. But the people who would come in, they'd come in the door and they'd be like, I want to talk to the DJ. I want to see what's going on. They're like, nope, stay back. Like, get away, like it was this whole thing. And I think that's what people don't understand is if you can drop off, and again, it is a level of a bribe, but it's like a no expectation bribe. It's like, if you just put it on your calendar, and it's why we've done trainings on like, how do you create a calendar for going and visiting schools? Sometimes you just go and drop things off. Sometimes you go in and get services, and then sometimes you go in and teach, and you work on that cycle. And that's what it takes to build up a good relationship with a salon, or excuse me, with a school, is as a salon, is you go in and you kind of have that frequency of interactions, not just like you said up front, this panic call.
Right. It's about controlling the narrative inside the school, because there is a narrative about your salon.
Right.
So if you're doing those things, you're controlling the narrative about it. Yeah. And then, I know people just like, it's so hard for them just to drop something off without dropping off their recruiting flyer or something. It's like,
don't. Like, we're hiring right now, just so you know.
Right. Just drop them off and say, have a great day.
Yeah, it'll go way further.
Right. Buy them lunch and say, have a great day. Again, they're going to chase you instead of them feeling like they're being chased.
Think about this. Valentine's Day just came up, right? Like Valentine's Day. So like if I screw up and I buy my wife flowers, right? Versus a random drop of flowers anytime I feel like it, it's a very different scenario. And like, I try to, if I see something pretty flowers, I'll grab some pretty flowers for my wife and drop them off. And she'll be like, oh, what are the flowers for? And I'm like, just because I saw them and I thought they were pretty. That goes a million miles further than like, it's Valentine's Day, here's your flowers, which I did get her for anyway. Or I screwed up, here's flowers. Right. And again, because it's like, oh, I want something. I want your forgiveness. I want your acceptance. I want whatever. But to make it on the same thing is I want staff, I want this. And by the way, I do have a 6th bonus tip on here that I know we talk about sometimes. We talk about the 5 mistakes. I don't know if this is a mistake or more of just like a bonus tip, Doug, but you've said this one before, and I think it's really powerful, is send your leadership team and staff in to go talk about your salon or interact with the school instead of just sending the owner in all the time. This is one of the tips that I think we've given out before that is super like fire, because it's one thing for you like Doug Campbell or your wife Alice to go in and say, we're the owners of Penthouse Salon, here, come check us out and do this thing, which again we said don't go in that way. But if you had a graduate who graduated from that school and came to your salon, and they can go back into that salon and teach a class or go do the donut drops or whatever. They already know the campus, the location. They know the faculty. They can build a better relationship and are probably going to go back and be like, hey, Miss So-and-so, and hey, Mr. So-and-so, like, good to see you. I'm just dropping off the stuff from Penthouse today. I want to come in and say hi and meet some of your students. Like, they're going to have a much better relationship with that school if you had, like, ideally, it's somebody who came from that school. But if you can't have somebody who came from the school, then at least one better is one of your stylists is like, oh yeah, I work over at that salon. We just want to come drop this off. Even just helping more than the owner have a relationship with the school is have your leadership, your staff, or your graduates from that school continue to build a relationship with that local school. That is money. Like, that is a huge, huge tip that I want you guys to get. If you think that would be ridiculously powerful, do me a favor and type powerful in the chat. And by the way, I hope you guys got a lot of value out of today's show. I know I always ask, like, did you get value? Was this helpful? These conversations that we have during the podcast are just little snippets into the trainings that we do inside our regular High Performance Salon Academy. And these are like kind of quick overviews. So if you want to go in more depth and more detail, and you want to brainstorm with somebody to help you grow your salon, do me a favor and drop a comment and say, I'm ready to grow in the comment section. And somebody from our team will reach out to you and we'll make sure that we can get connected with you and help you grow your salon, because we just think that there's too many people struggling to recruit right now. They're not doing it right, and we need to solve that problem. And hopefully this podcast helps solve that for you. Doug, anything you want to say as we wrap up, buddy?
I think that's the thing. I think the biggest takeaway is learn how to be chased and not be the chaser. Your results will go way, way up.
Yeah. Well said. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us on today's podcast. Do me a favor, if you like today, stick around for other podcasts just like this. We'd love to connect with you, work with you, and help serve you if we're the right fit. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Later.
Thanks for listening to the Evo Revo podcast. Today's podcast was brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel. Please subscribe, leave us a review, and you can always get more information, including show notes and the video episodes at evorevopodcast.com.